We should be live now, hopefully. Hello to everyone. Welcome to episode 3. I think they purposely gave me this episode just to hear me pronounce 3. So welcome to episode 3 of MakerCast. The first one was on Bitluni's channel. Second one was on Unexpected Maker, or Sion's channel. This one is on my channel, and the next one is on Steven's channel, I believe. I think that's what we said anyways. He was voluntold that he's doing it. Let's just do a really quick introduction, and I have a surprise for you because I'm from corporate world. I want you to introduce yourselves and your channel and whatever, but then I want you to say one thing about yourselves that we mightn't know. So I'll start with that just because I'm putting you on the spot. So, hi, I'm Brian. I'm from Ireland. My YouTube channel is the one you're watching right now, so I don't need to introduce that. Mainly do stuff around ESP8266s and Arduinos. And the thing you might know about me is that I used to sing when I was younger, and I actually have a gold medal for an All-Ireland competition for like this variety group show from when I was like 14. So that's my
just request
secret.
Sing something for us.
Not a hope. You couldn't afford me. So I'm going to go in order of that you joined the chat. So Bitluni is going to be very last, seeing as he joined at about 1 minute past 8. So Colin, would you like to introduce yourself and go next?
Yeah, I'm Colin Hickey. Got a small YouTube channel. Lots of things with ESP8266s and ESP32s, but mainly a lot of things around power walls. I have a small power wall in my garage, and big things with BMS lately. I've been working on that. Haven't done anything in a while, but this is a good opportunity to kickstart my channel and get things going again. Something you wouldn't know about me. Got no idea. I used to play rugby to a reasonable level when I was younger. Despite my size, I was a winger, so it fitted well. So yeah.
All right, cool. Thanks, Colin. I played till I was about 13, not to a high level, and I was not a winger. I was in the front row. So Liz, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hey, I'm Liz. My YouTube channel is Blitz City DIY. Do a lot of things on electronics, 3D printing, stuff like that. Something you might not know about me, I'll go music theme too. I'm classically trained on piano. I've been playing since I was like 7. So,
yeah. Nice. Thank you, Liz. So Stephen, you are next up.
Stephen Ludgate. My YouTube channel is all about, well, it used to be 3D printing and making anything to do with 3D printing, electronics, and I'm currently the maker that doesn't seem to make anything. Usually I'm just opening my mail, which seems to be a good hit, but now I'm giving stuff away, which is even better. And the thing you probably don't know about me is I used to be 18.5 stone. So there you go. Hence my chunky Steve-O and everything as chunky me.
Yeah. So I do that about him, but only from asking like what's with the chunky name, because you seem the pinnacle of physical fitness, and he keeps posting runs to Twitter and stuff.
You just step over the line.
Yeah, sorry about that. Thank you.
I didn't want to bring it up.
I'll have to go do some sensitivity training or something. I'm overstepping my boundaries. Thank you, Stephen. And Bitluni, you are next.
I'm next. Hi, I'm Bitluni. You know me from Bitluni's Lab, my channel, probably, maybe, hopefully. And I'm completely unprepared for the MakerCast today, since I was editing just until like half an hour ago and uploading and so forth. But I'm doing IoT, electronics, ESP stuff, and things like that on my channel. Thing you don't know about me is probably that I'm partly colorblind, so I can distinguish red and green if it's like very faded or something.
Yeah, actually, in one of your in Bitluni's Trash's videos, you mentioned that, and then you later in the video was like, "This is purple," and it was not purple. I can't remember what color it was, but it was. You definitely said,
purple,
"Oh yeah, I
purple
think this
and
is
blue.
purple."
Purple and blue is also a problem. So it's deuterium. I don't know if it's common to call it like that. Yeah.
It's commonly in English we commonly refer to it just.
Oops, I lost Brian.
Brian is gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a couple of times
That was a cliffhanger.
Sorry, yeah, he's reciting complete Wikipedia on color blindness. Are you there, Brian?
Me?
You're back. Okay. Yes.
Oh, sorry. Did I drop?
Yeah, you dropped.
Oh, sorry. No, I was saying that it's surprisingly common. It's like 1 in 10 males have that red-green colorblind,
So,
and it's like 1 in 1,000 females or something. So
yeah. So yeah, it's common, but most of the men don't know it even. So yeah, I just realized it when I was 18 years old and going to military, and there was this medical stuff. So they just realized that I am colorblind, partly at least. So if I have any bad color schemes in my videos, so it's because of that.
You can't become a pilot or be an electrician.
Yes, that's true. Probably not astronauts. Oh yeah, Stephen. That's.
I mean, is this a white piece of paper to you?
Yeah. It's all green.
Yeah, your eyes are gone.
Okay, thank you, everybody, and sorry for throwing that thing at you. That's a common one they use in meetings and corporate world to like break the ice or whatever. I thought it might be interesting, give people some talking points in the chat and stuff. So I guess next we talk about what we've been up to for the last month or so. I can go first if you'd like. And seeing as I'm hosting, I can do what I want. So I don't care if you like or not. I'm going to go first. Yeah, so for the last month, in the last MakerCast, I was telling people that, like, hey, you should, I think I used this exact quote, you should cut your cloth to fit your measure. Like, if you don't have a lot of time for videos and stuff, maybe you need to change the type of videos you're making. And that's exactly what I've done for the last month. So I released 3 videos, this magic number that I can't pronounce, 3 videos, and I changed the way I recorded them. So I was talking as I was doing things rather than doing a voiceover afterwards. And I find that's a much quicker way to make videos for me anyways. So the 3 videos that I made, I did one on the Tindie 841. That was kind of a summary of a live stream I did just before the last MakerCast. Then I also did a video on using, just before I move on to that, the Tindie 841, it's like an at Tiny or ATtiny 85. It's similar enough in spec. It is a 14-pin chip though, so it's a little bit physically bigger. But it has 2 hardware serial ports, and it also supports being an I2C slave as hardware as well. So it's a pretty interesting chip, and it's like $1. So it's pretty nice. Then the next thing I was doing was a video on the ESP32 cam. So the latest version of the ESP32 core for Arduino, the one that was released in January, they also included a demo of of working with a camera. So once I got that up and running, I did a video just showing how to get that up and running and just kind of doing a quick test around it. It's It's okay. It's better than I thought it would be originally. The ESP32 cam. Mine doesn't seem to be as good of quality as some other people's, and like I've seen online people saying that like you could have the same board, but you're just getting two different cameras. Like one camera is just better than the other one or whatever. So that's interesting. But yeah, I definitely have plans to make some projects around that. Just to give it away. Like I'd like to make like a doorbell with it. So not a real doorbell, but like so you press the button and it sends a notification on Telegram, but also sends a picture as well, because somebody just pushed a PR to the Telegram library with kind of better camera, or sorry, photo support. So it'd be interesting to try the two of those things out at the same time. And then just this week, I released a video also inspired by what we were talking about on the last MakerCast around the making mistakes. So I have it here. So I showed this board, I think, on the last MakerCast too. And this board cost me a lot of heartache and problems. So this is version 1 of my D1 matrix board. Our D1 mini matrix board. So it's a board that slots into the back of those RGB panels. So here's one of them that I need to be careful about because there's a lot of stuff attached to the back of it. Just to make it easier to set up. And there was a problem with that board, and I had already sold like 10 of them. So I had to design up a new one, order it, get the fastest shipping I could, because I wanted it as soon as possible to start like fixing the problem. Because while there was boards out there and like I knew it was a problem, I just felt really bad about it. So I got the second boards and added a dip switch to solve the problem. There's a full video talking about it, so I won't go into the details about it. But yeah, that solved that. And I said I'd make a video around it, just kind of because we talked about making mistakes and how I didn't make videos around making mistakes. I make as many mistakes as anybody, but I just don't talk about it on the channel too much. So yeah, that seems to be well received. People seem to appreciate the videos about mistakes. So yeah, don't worry, I've got plenty of source material if we want to keep doing videos around that. And that's pretty much it from me. Yeah, it was busy enough month. So Colin, do you want to go next? You had an interesting month. You had a shout out from a pretty big electronics YouTuber.
Yeah, it was nice. Great Scott started doing some work on BMSs, and I've done a little bit of work on a product from a guy called Stuart Pittaway. And it was a good product in itself, but there was just some parts that didn't really fit for what I needed. I like Grafana, and also there was some kind of usability things like making sure that the batteries didn't go over a certain voltage, an extra alerting, checking out the amperage that's being used. So I kind of spliced those things in, just kind of wedged them in, so to speak. I did do a programming degree at university, but that was a long time ago. So now I'm all hacking things together. But yeah, so that was great. I got a good shout out for that. I've just done a small video today just to pull the Powerwall back together on the BMS and get things working. I think Stuart just posted the other day he's got some plans for future development. So hopefully, if I'm lucky, I may be able to work with him on that. Other things I've been working on, just to say, I'm more what I would say like a kind of mashup artist. I try and come up with original ideas, but sometimes it's just standing on the shoulders of others, as it were. One of the things I've been working on is a small board that uses Xeon's reflow software, and I've named it the reflow bodge because it's kind of bodging things together. But the reason I did this is that Xeon's done a great product, but it was just to try and see if I could come up with something myself, but using his code because that's where his expertise is. But what I've done is I've done it using all through-hole components, uses the same screen, got the same 4 buttons, but uses a off-the-shelf kind of plug-in SAMD21 module. So that's something I'm going to be looking at getting up and running soon, doing a video on to get my reflow oven working. And one other thing I've been working on is that I've done a lot of things with solar charge controllers, and came up with a board that transmits, converts sort of RS485 to Wi-Fi, just using a ESP01. And this is the latest evolution of the board, which now has a RJ45 connector on. So that means you can just use a straight cable, no messy soldering for that side of things. So, and I did sell a few of those on Tindie, but I have run into a few problems in the same ilk as yourself, Brian, with the RS405 to serial adapter. So I'm just trying to debug that at the moment. But those are the two main things I've been working on lately.
Cool. Thank you, Colin. And welcome. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
As if people don't know Colin's, he's got a good Tindie store. If you're into your 3D printers and you need a bed leveling using the BL Touch, he seems to have cornered the market in adapter PCBs. If you need a BL Touch to connect to some kind of printer motherboard using their own connectors, he seems to know what you need to do, and he's got the board for it.
That's on eBay. You sold them, Colin, right?
I do, yeah. I've got them here. I do one for the ANET 8, which is a breakout board for the BL Touch, and then I do another one that is for the Ender 3. So that Ender 3 one, well, for a lot of Creality printers, not all of them, but a lot of them, and that one will be going up on Tindie as well. I think it's maybe a better platform to put it on.
Yeah, sorry, you mainly eBay, but you should get on Tindie as well.
Yeah, I think it's probably a better platform.
Yeah, cool. Thank you, Colin. And welcome back to the wonderful world of making videos again after your hiatus. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thank you.
It's now you're back into the weeds. Yeah, so next up, Liz. Liz got her hands on the famous Pi Portal this month.
Yes.
Interested to hear how you got on with it.
Yes. First, I'm going to start with some simpler stuff. I've been taking models and remixing them to make these Game of Thrones shields for each house. So this month I did House Greyjoy and House Lannister. So I've got the kind of octopus kraken thing for Greyjoy and the lion for Lannister. I've done Targaryen and blanking on the one that was, but the one with the deer, I did that one. So I want to do a couple more, hopefully this month, in time for the new premiere that's coming out. So those are fun. I do a video on them, but they never do very well, but I keep doing them anyway. But for the Pi Portal project, I did it Twin Peaks themed. I guess I'm on a TV kick with projects. So basically it's the Pi Portal, which is a new kind of board thing from Adafruit that has this touchscreen and ESP32 and SAMD51 processor on it. So basically I've got it mounted in a photo frame here, and there's a power button. Hopefully this works. I'm not sure how the lighting is going to be, but basically first it has a picture of Laura Palmer, and then when there isn't enough light, which is happening right now, it switches to this other picture, this kind of creepy dude from the show. It's going to keep doing it because it's not dark enough, so I'm going to turn it off. But it also says, got a light, which is a quote from the show during this kind of creepy scene. So that was fun to do. The hardest part was getting it into the photo frame, because these are used for like wedding placeholders. And so I kind of dremeled out a hole for the light sensor, and then the back is like basically unrecognizable because I ripped it apart and stuff's glued in and everything like that. I did a video on that. That's basically the whole photo process. And the other thing that's happened is I talked about in the last MakerCast. Yeah, not an octopus, gotcha. And I talked about in the last MakerCast how I'm making an IR robot, and for the remote, I did a PCB, and the PCBs came in, and it's working. There were just kind of three things that were not totally cool. I didn't leave enough room for the trinket so that it wasn't banging into the LED board, which is separate. So I've got the headers kind of bent at 45 degrees to allow for that. And then I also had it so that the LED board, the way I had it oriented in Eagle, it made it so that if I had plugged it in with the like silk screen on the right side, like the connection was backwards, so like ground was connecting to power and vice versa. So I had to do Osh Park sends you 3 boards, so I had to do a second one and put the LEDs on the other side, so I do it this one, so I'd be facing out the right way. But the biggest issue, keeping on the Bodge theme, was for the seesaw. I hadn't finished the code yet, and I think I just assumed that all the pins were GPIO. But I had connected up the button that's on the joystick to connect to GPIO 6 on the seesaw, which is actually just PWM out. You can't use it for anything else. So I had to do a nice bodge wire on the back this morning, actually, to one of the other GPIOs, and now it's working. And I can try to demo it really quick with the robot. I just have to steal my one LiPo from the PyPortal project and plug into the remote.
We've got a question, Liz. Is that t-shirt a FranLab t-shirt?
It is a FranLab t-shirt, her newest one. And I think she has another campaign right now for like a Philadelphia themed shirt, which is cool. I love Fran. So this is the robot. And I'm not gonna have it run across the floor because that would be a disaster. But I can at least demo that it like changes direction. So this is forward, backward, left, right, and then when you press the button, it stops. So
That's really cool.
thanks. So next I'm gonna do like a housing for the remote, so it's not just bare PCB, and then that'll be all set. So that's what I've been working on.
Nice. Yeah, that's exciting. I have to say, I really, so I don't know anything about Twin Peaks, but watching the video about the PyPortal thing, I really liked your delivery around the picture frame stuff. I just thought it was very funny. Like, most people will get these for weddings, like a normal person. I was just like, excellent delivery. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so definitely worth checking out if anybody hasn't. Yeah, so Mr. Chunky Stevo, what do you have for us?
Yeah, I've been doing little things. Again, kind of going along with your motto of fitting things in where you can. Continuing my home assistant automated house, I went and got myself a IKEA trad-free dimmer switch, which is like this little, really cool little wireless coin operated Zigbee switch, and it's magnetic onto their little wall stand, and you basically just turn it left and right like a dimmer, but it's a wireless, so I could just do it in the air like some crazy Star Trek guy. But this was connecting to my Zigbee to MQTT server, and again I was just playing with automations to dim lights. So I've now got a Xiaomi sensor, Xiaomi switch, a trad-free dimmer, all running off no hubs, so it all goes straight to the Raspberry Pi using the Zigbee to MQTT setup. So it's a big learning curve, and I'm still learning, but I'm playing, and my house is slowly taking over and getting annoying for my fiance, which is a goal. But the main thing I've been doing this month is I've been learning to code from scratch, but more game code. So it was my birthday this month. I am 37 years young. It's my better half to get me an Arduboy credit card mini game system. It's running off a 32U4. That's the right one. Arduino microcontroller, and it's got a little OLED screen, 4-way switch, 2 action buttons, and it's got a rechargeable LiPo and a buzzer, and you just plug it in to the USB and you program it like you would with any other Arduino. But I was really getting into like the little 8-bit games and seeing them online, and I also got off a service swap from a lovely guy called Hayri. if you find him on YouTube, he does CNC controllers, and he does a lot of stuff on Tindie. So if you check him out, we tend to do service swaps. So I create 3D cases for all these crazy stuff, and he tends to send me the stuff that he makes. So completely on a unrelated note, just from the timings, he sent me this little thing, which is a tiny, he's called it the OLED arcade. So it's this tiny OLED arcade running off a ESP32. They're very similar, but this has only got a one joystick, so it kind of changes how you would use it. So I've kind of got into programming games, which kind of hones your coding skills, because games are very complicated. I imagine Sion will confirm with his gaming background of you kind of got to think 2 steps ahead, like a carpenter who builds stairs when you're building games. That games are very complicated. They're doing lots of things in the background to make something look very simple. So you got to think from the ground up. You got to think about all your classes and your structs and your loops and all the routines that are going to build up. Say something simple like a Pong game. You know, you've got where the paddles are, you've got where the balls are, what the scores are, you got the boundaries, where the ball is, the mechanics. And I just felt like I needed to go back to scratch and learn how to code properly. So I've just been playing, and I've got to this point here. If I load it up, which is pretty terrible. What I've been showing people, I've been showing them the demos, and they're like, oh yeah, that's really cool. It's like a little game. And then I'm showing them what I've made, and they're like, oh, is that it? Is that what it does? And I'm like, well, it's taken me like a day to get that far. So at the moment, I've got this little guy working, and he kind of goes around his little map. So the map is like a little byte array, and it all loads up, looping through arrays. Really simple stuff if you know what you're talking about. But if you don't know what you're talking about, it's very complicated. I'm kind of in between. I know what it is, but it's good just to.
It's still cool though. You have to grow into it. So you just do it step by step and improve it time by time.
So the website. Let me see if I can do this. Desktop.
Hi.
That was smooth. I need some better screens. So the Arduboy, it's got a very good community, which is one of the strengths of it. So there's lots of tutorials. There is lots of let me go back to me. There's lots of users who've submitted games. There's lots of examples. So the first few examples, it's basically showing you very basic stuff. There's lots of how for loops work and things like that. So if you know all that, it's fine. But then they start getting into lots of interesting things. So like drawing maps using byte arrays and importing bitmaps. And so yeah, it's getting really fascinating. And when I actually created a world using a byte array, it was really good. So I'm very excited of how far I can push it. So this is using just the 32U4. There's other ones. I think Sean Hodgins, part of his HCC mod, that's using the is it the M0, the XML chip. So that's a lot more powerful. I think he had like a little mini games console thing. So yeah, I'm kind of interested at the moment, just creating cool little games, because the 8-bit and the size and everything, just kind of you got to narrow it down, and you got to constrain how you would create a game, and you can't go too far. You've got to keep it simple, keep it basic, and stick to the game being a good game. I've been doing lots of other little tiny bits, but that would do. That's it.
Cool. That's it.
That's
cool. Yeah, no, that seems really interesting. Yeah, I made some games as a hobby for a while. It's definitely work. I could only imagine what actually releasing proper games is like. Yeah, Sion can tell us all about it sometime, maybe, if he's not too scared from it. It's kind of one of those things that I don't think he likes talking about too much. He's too hurt from it. Yeah, so thanks, Stephen. Mr. Bitluni.
Okay, so since last time, the last time I wanted to show the board kit that I think it wasn't shipped yet to me because I had problems with DHL and customs and so on. And yeah, this was mainly what was happening this month. So this is the finished kit that I'm selling on Tindie now. So there are only few boards left. So it's limited to 100 boards. And yeah, I was really overwhelmed and busy, like 2 weeks doing only that stuff. So I wanted to have maybe I can show it. So it comes like packaged like a kit here. And I spent just like a week or no, it wasn't a week, it was like 3 days to make a nice instructions. So it's, yeah, colorblind people instructions. And it has everything. I have even bought a stamp, so you get a number of which kit it is. And yeah, as soon as I announced that, it was like sold out. I just listed 70 boards, and it was sold out within 3 days, I think, something like that. Or maybe the last ones were like a week, the last few pieces. And the problem was that I didn't have the microcontrollers, or I had like just 12 of these. So you need this mini kit for this board, and I had like only 12 of these, and these were quickly gone. And then yeah, the people didn't have the controllers, and it was a little bit slower then. And yeah, what I realized, I had many problems with the post service, German post service, since either you pay like 15 euros to ship internationally, or you have to be like a business partner, and then you have to use like a stupid online page to ship products. And you have to type every single address in like that, or you use like a third-party service. And this page wasn't even working for the first 2 days where I had to ship the devices when I was finished with the product. And yeah, I had like 4 days just managing to get it running. So the first batch that I sent was like 1 device. It was actually the device to Liz that I sent first. She has the first kit. She was the first one that ordered and received it. So yeah, and then the second day it was like 3 devices. The third day it was another 27, and the day after the remaining like 30 devices. So I got my head around it, and it was quite an experience, and it was really stressful. My sister helped me packing that stuff up. If you just have to pack like 70 units or 100 units of these, and then you have to count the resistors, put them in this thingy, and then cut it into shape, and sort it, and put it in a bag, and fold here the box, and so on. It really takes time. So, but it was a really neat experience, and I want to continue to do that. I have also used the opportunity to finally give something to my supporters on PayPal, channel members, and Patreons. So the people that wanted to have one got one for free, and I sent that as well immediately, like a week after the Tindie shipments, since the time was running out there. And yeah, it was a quite neat experience. And what I realized in the middle of this process is when I was soldering up the controllers, and these here. I was uploading a test sketch that when you solder it up and just connect it to the power, you will see immediately a screen. And I realized that like 4 of the units that I sold weren't working with my library. So it was just black. The screen was black. So I packed up like some units that I have used before. And even I had to even repair one to be able to ship a working unit. So I had exchanged like soldered on the USB connector and exchanged like the diodes since it was burned up or something. So I had to like repair one to be able to ship in time for Tindie. And my orders, I'm still waiting on more of these since I'm putting out another revision just in black and smaller. Yeah, what I realized is that my library, that the library wasn't working with all units. So there are some differences in the ESP32s. It's not the revision 0 and the revision 1 thing. The revision 0 doesn't work at all, but there are differences in revision 1 even that where nobody was talking about this, or there's no information about this. So I had to like adjust the code, and I silently updated also the library so it works now on all devices. So problems like that. And what I did else, this month, since I was so busy doing that stuff, and I wasn't able to finish a video, so I had like one video that was posted 10 minutes before this stream started. And it's about the ULP sound driver. It was quite neat. I think it's a little bit animated. And yeah, I'm happy that I'm finished with that since it was quite tedious at the end. That was that. And I made a few other boards that are already posted or committed to JLC PCB, but I'm waiting on the delivery. And yeah, it will be updated about these things in maybe the next videos and the next MakerCast. So I have like 5 different boards or something are coming. I'm looking forward to it. I was really busy creating new boards, and I think that's all that I did this month. Yeah, I also updated the library to support 800 by 600 pixels resolution, but I didn't tell anyone yet.
No, you did. You heard it here first, everybody.
Yeah, it was the major refactoring of few odd things going on the ESP32 with the GPIO matrix. So the I2S devices, they don't work similarly. So the I2S1 supports like 8-bit transmission, which is twice as fast than the 16-bit, obviously, and I2S0 doesn't support that, and but you can't use 24 bits on I2S1. And I was really took like 2 days to debug this and figure it out. So I'm happy with that right now.
Cool. Yeah, thanks for that. So I guess a question I would have for you now is if you could go back in time a month, what would you tell that Bitluni to do different with your Tindie stuff? Like what lessons do you have to share with the rest of us?
Something that you actually told me or written in the Discord chat, like when it was too late, that you just tested it before. So you shipped one device to a person or something. So
Chunky Steve-O, yeah.
yeah, so that is something that you should test before, especially if you want to ship internationally. You have to figure it out first, how to ship it before you try to do it on a big scale, like 70 units or something. And
I can confirm that it is still here and it is still in the envelope.
I sent that to you in like August, maybe September. Okay.
Yeah, I know. Like if anyone's watching the chat, yeah, I owe you some real orders. I owe you some hard European cash.
Don't worry about it. I'm pretty sure that the power blockers are working okay, so I don't need you to test it. I've since replaced it with a different revision, even so. Your test is now useless to me.
Where do I send them back?
That's fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah. So one thing that I felt has helped me a huge amount with Tindie is let me just show you here, is I package up my kits before I sell anything now. So this is my box, and
You
it's
say
the other way
your
around.
kits or your kids?
My kids, I package up all my kids before I sell anything. I package up all my kits. So this is my D1 mini matrix box, and like I have full kits ready to go with them. So I only list what I have ready to go, because what I was finding was when I was selling stuff and like I get an order on Tindie and suddenly it was taking me like half an hour to fulfill a single order because I needed to assemble a kit and then put it into an envelope and then do whatever else I needed to do. It was a real time sink. Like that was happening just kind of before Christmas, and it just was not a good way of doing it. So from now on, like anything I list on Tindie, if there's something in stock, it means I have it in a bag like that, ready to just pick off and stick in an envelope. The other thing that I've added to my setup, and this was thanks to Bitluni actually, was where is it? There. That label printer is it's so good. It has sped up my time to like assemble a package just a huge amount. Like previously I was using like label sheets that I was putting into my regular printer, printing them off, and like that was slow enough in itself. My printer is old. The toner I use with it is the cheapest I can get. Those sheets were pretty cheap too. So one of those three things was causing, or maybe all of them, was causing it to not be the best like quality of a print, and like the ink was like you could scratch it off almost. So like I also had to like put sellotape over on top of that. And so like it took me like maybe 10 minutes to package up something. Maybe not 10, maybe it was 5. I don't know. But like now with that one, that doesn't scratch off at all. It's a thermal printer. You can just stick it straight on. It even cuts itself. My one does that, Bitluni, yours doesn't.
Yeah.
But like it was only like £40 on Amazon or something. Like it was really, I should have done this ages ago.
Yeah. At the end, I really also needed this self-cutting thingy.
Yeah.
Since I was printing like in 2 parts or something, and that would be really useful. But mine was like 27 euros, so it's really cheap. Yeah. And it works quite well. We were talking in the Discord chat about the limitation. It's like the labels are only 62 millimeters wide. So, and that's quite a limitation if you want to print the custom declarations and so on. And I finally figured out a way to do it very efficiently. I'm using just the 62 millimeters. I print the regular label. So what I'm doing now, I'm using a WordPress plugin for the post thingy to manage my shippings for WooCommerce. So I'm using internally WooCommerce to do my shippings and print the labels. And they come out in the right shape with 62 millimeters. And I simply created an SVG file of the CN22 customs declaration that's fitting on the 62 millimeters. So the label, the address is shipped like horizontally, printed horizontally, and the declaration is vertically, and that's quite neat. And I created like 2 SVGs or 2 PDFs from the SVG, one with 1 unit inside, and so I even written what's inside already, and for 2 pieces, so I have like the declaration for 1 unit and 2 units if I'm selling that, and that's sped up quite a lot. This label thing is, and one thing about pre-packaging. So at the end, I caught up with all the shippings, and I packed also all my units that are left. And I had a problem that I should have left like 10 units unpacked, since if people are ordering soldered versions or 2 units at once, and then I have to pack differently, or let me show it. So I got like some versions soldered, and these are the remaining resistors that obviously I'm not taking apart again from the units that I shipped soldered. So I use just like the regular from my box here, and not the resistors that I cut and put in place. So I won't use these anymore. So it's good thing to pack a huge amount up front, but also leave some units for customization.
Yeah, sounds good. Okay, so now that we've done that and we've reviewed everyone's month, we will move on to the next section, which I guess is just general talk. And if people want to submit questions in the chat, that would be great. I'll start it off around, so the Hackaday Prize got announced there this week, and it's a pretty big deal. I've never been involved in the Hackaday Prize at all. I know some people have. I know Eric was in the chat there as well. Make Me Lab, I think he was involved in it for a couple of years. Like the prizes for it are huge, but like this year more than other years, it seems to be really business focused. I wonder, does anybody have any kind of opinions on it or thoughts on it? And same to the chat, if people want to say what they think about it too. That'd be good. Like, I think they're giving away, is it first prize is 125,000 or something mental.
Yeah. At the risk of alienating some people, it just feels really like corporate this year. Like it kind of like I was turned off like almost immediately as soon as they announced the like all the videos for it and everything. I don't know. It's just the whole vibe just kind of turned me off.
I watched the I think it was like the main video that they brought out, and I didn't quite understand what the actual competitions were. It was just kind of, I don't know. It was like you say. I think from previous ones, you'd think, right, well, the categories are ESP or internet or moving, but it all seemed just like how you would communicate something, or how would you? Yeah, it seems like a very odd.
Yeah, to contrast, like the 2008 Hackaday Prize had like one of the like categories was like music, and the other category was like robotics, and like the categories this time around are like communication and like was it like design and things like that. So it will, I think it'll suit some people really well. Like I think if you're sort of like in that mode already and you're working on stuff and like you can kind of submit it to there at the same time, I think that'll work well. But I don't see it being a thing where like a huge amount of people will go like, oh, because there is now a Hackaday Prize, I better start like ramping up a product design and shipping it out or whatever. Like, as in, unless that was something that we're probably going to do anyways. Like, as in, a lot of the times with the competitions, like say for Instructables or things like that, I might kind of go, oh, this is competition is around, I don't know, lighting or Wi-Fi or something, and be like, oh, there's a project that I was kind of thinking about before. Maybe I might finish that for this competition. But like, that won't be the case for this for sure. But like, I think there's some people where it'll suit really well. For like example, like a lot of the stuff that they're talking about is stuff that Sion is going through right now with the Tiny Pico, which you should check out on, is it Crowd Supply? The thing, the pre-order or the pre-launch page is started. But like, they're talking about, as in all these different aspects of like product design and getting stuff manufactured. Like, if you've been following the Tiny Pico story, like Sion's gone to China, has talked to PCBA people, has his Raspberry Pi for automated testing of it. Like, that's all stuff that's like I know it's not part of the Hackaday Prize that he was doing it, but it's the type of thing that I think the Hackaday Prize is looking for now. So like, for him, maybe that's a good option. Like, maybe he'll win 125,000. That'd be nice. Give me some if you do. But like, if you're kind of going down that road anyways, maybe it'll be a good avenue. But yeah, I don't know. I completely agree with what you said, Liz, about it feels very corporate this time around. Like, even in the Tindie kind of Hackaday.io chat group, somebody mentioned about it, and somebody was like, I already have a day job. I won't be entering this. Like, and I was like, I completely agree with that. It feels nearly more like Shark Tank or Dragon's Den. It
Exactly,
just,
yeah.
it feels so businessy, and that isn't like, it's just
I mean,
not that fun,
it's
right?
fine, but it's like, I guess because I personally always thought like Hackaday of like the like people like us that are just doing these projects and trying to document and kind of push themselves and everything. And so it just feels like maybe they're starting to go in a different direction, which is fine. But yeah, I was surprised by the announcement. It just compared to last year, like, it just seemed very different.
Yeah. My feeling is the same as yours and Brian's, since it does exclude many people. Even we are even makers that are doing really elaborate stuff, but even we are turned off by this competition. So at the end, nobody will participate and follow it. I think this might be a big failure this time. And I had the impression that the Hackaday community is all about hacking and not like developing products for Kickstarter or something. So, yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of a resounding meh from us. I would think. Yeah,
that was the word I was looking for. I just
like, I'm sure it'll suit some people, and I hope they do really well out of it, and I hope even Crowd Supply or whoever gets what they're looking for out of it too. So yeah, it just isn't for me anyways. Okay, so we'll move on to the next question. So Michael had or Hassiter, I don't know where he goes as Hassiter, but he's Michael Brenthart in the chat there. He asked a question on Twitter earlier about like where do we get project ideas? He was specifically talking about like the RGB matrices for that the thing I sell on the Tindie for, but I felt like if we made it that, I'd have to put like hashtag ad in this stream. I felt it was definitely too too close to me. But I guess if we broaden it out a little bit, like as in, so project ideas, where do you get them, and what's your muse for them?
YouTube.
Yeah, for me, I think
No,
like
Instagram for me.
Instagram, nice.
I will go through. I will save things to my save collection. I will like things, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's cool." Save. Oh, that's cool. Save. And then 6 to 12 months later, I will go through my save collection and be like, "Huh, what's that? All right, yeah, and maybe I might make that now." So,
yeah, like I've probably more YouTube for me than anything. Like definitely I'd see some stuff and go, oh yeah, that'd be cool. There's definitely some things that like I bought because I saw them on YouTube and I just haven't gotten around to making it yet. You can actually, I'm trying to move my hand in the right direction. There, just above my finger, there is slots for an LED matrix that I got laser cut about 18 months ago, because I bought stuff for making one, and I just haven't ever gotten around to it after seeing like Great Scott's videos like years ago. But I think now I just sort of, I don't know, I just think I have a lot of time to think when I'm commuting to my job. So I come up with lots and lots of ideas. None of them are like super original or anything. Like they're just kind of building on something that's already done, or it's like controlling something with Telegram or doing something with something else, or whatever. It's not groundbreaking, but I think just sort of which ones that I actually work on, it just whatever I feel like doing at the time. It's actually a big reason why I haven't taken any sponsored videos. It's not because I have any problem with sponsored videos. I absolutely do not. I think, as in, like, people need to get supported to do what they want to do, and like YouTube doesn't pay that well, so why wouldn't people, make a sponsored video? But my biggest problem with it is that if I do a sponsored video, it removes that aspect of I can work on whatever I want, right? Because now I have a deadline. Like Steven got a few PCBs off PCBway, and like you'd swear he owed them 10 grand. Like, as in, the loan sharks were out, Steven. The video loan sharks were out. Like, I just don't want that.
I emailed him / the company that emailed me, and I said my video is live, and I didn't even get a thank you or anything. Wow, great! Asked me to be a judge in the new. I think they've got like this PCBway kind of like Hackaday Prize thing, and I would be an ideal judge. I was like, you really have not seen my channel. I would not make an ideal judge of a. It was a soldering competition judge. I was like, no, okay, I will draw the line at being a judge, but give me free PCBs to review. now leave me alone.
Yeah. So any other inputs on where your ideas come from, or?
Mine sometimes come from something that I need or think would be cool, and I try to make it instead of buying it. So like I've done a lot of like macro keyboard stuff, and things like that. And then other times it's just like they'll, for example, with the Pi Portal like Twin Peaks project, Adafruit posted like an example project that was like on the Gremlins, and it was just this weird thing where like the character would randomly talk, and so that's how I kind of came up with the idea for that. And if you can hear my cat meowing in the background, that's probably very entertaining. So just kind of it's kind of random, but a lot of times it'll be like something that I could buy, but I want to try making myself.
Yeah. It's
I've got a very similar thing. It's something like it's just necessity. Like one of the projects that I did a few years ago was based on someone else's PCB, but it's just a 12-volt LED strip controller with an ESP01, and then, as with a lot of my projects, took that and then kind of built on it with dominoes to control it. And though I've got a bunch of these that sit under my kitchen, under the cupboards at the top, and then at dusk they come on, and it's great. It just gives a certain level of ambient light, and I've got those in my garages as well outside, and a door outside, and it's just great. They're all automated, and I've had those in place for maybe 4 years now, and that's one of the cases where it was far cheaper than getting something off the shelf. The other place, because as you can see, I've got a lot of 3D printers. I do a lot of printing, and it's just finding projects, but then kind of evolving them if you need to. One of the things I do a lot of things for my children. So this is a tank.
Which I wish you were my dad.
Yeah, can you adopt me?
Which is a project of Thingiverse. But I've went through so many controllers, trying to control this, because it basically nearly tears itself apart when you go at full speed. So one of the things I'm working on is to make my own controller. And then there was a video, I can't remember, Electro Noobs came out with something lately. So what I'm probably going to do is mash up his controller into control and speed controllers for that. And I've done things like that, but also this was another one. There's a theme here with electronic things. Just put one of my son's name on, and just took that original project and remixed it so the model worked a lot better, and with the things I'd purchased. So that's where a lot of my inspiration comes from, just doing things for the kids, or finding a necessity for it.
I don't know if you saw the reaction to the tank in the chat, but it looks like that might be a good candidate for a future video. There seems to be a lot of interest in it. Yeah, man, that tank looks pretty cool. I kind of want one. Better learn how to 3D print properly. Okay, I have another question for you all. What is success for you with YouTube? Like, what would you like from it? It's kind of an open-ended question, but yeah, I'll start because it's kind of an awkward question. And I've had time to think about it because I was thinking about asking you this question. So
you came up with the question. That's just cheating, Brian.
Yeah, well, like, you know, we want it real, right? Real knows real, right? Don't want you all to have. I was actually toying with telling you the question ahead of time, but no, we'll find out what you think of it. Yeah, so I guess for me, like, it is a very aspirational goal, but I think it would be nice to like start offsetting work with doing sort of YouTubey stuff, and it's a very unobtainable goal realistically, right? But I've always been the type of person who like does better when there is something I'm like after. I'm never really like, if I'm content with what I am at the moment, I'm not happy. I don't know if that makes sense. Like, I do put myself under pressure with some of the things, but like, there is always something I want to do. Like, as in a few years ago, it would have been releasing the games, and then it was like making the electronic stuff, and then it was the YouTube stuff. And so, like, I actually don't mind that it's like unlikely, because like, how many people are doing it full time in our space? There's very few, right? You could probably count on like 2 hands, maybe there's more than that. I don't know. Like, it depends on how fuzzy match you search what I do against other people. Like, as in, you know, it's a 3D printing nerd. Is he the same as me? He's doing it full time. We're not really, right? He's a 3D printing channel and I'm not. But there's not a lot of people, right? So to be one of those people is unlikely, right? but it would be nice to even get a start on that, where maybe I can like grow to a certain size where I don't have to work 5 days a week in my day job anymore. Maybe I can like get a 4-day week and spend the extra day then working on stuff. But I don't know if that's what I'd like. That would be my goal, but I don't know if that's what I'd like say that is like I define as success. I think just making stuff that people like, and I don't think I'd be happy if I stopped growing, really. Like I don't know if that's like selfish or if it's doing it for the wrong reasons or whatever, but I think once I'm still happy making this stuff, I still find it interesting, and people still seem to be enjoying it, and the channel is growing, I would consider that success. But like as an end goal, I would like to start like reducing the amount of time I actually have to work by supporting myself using like YouTube ads and referral links and Tindie sales or whatever. But yeah, that would be kind of success for me. Does anyone else want to throw a stab at the next answer?
And I would agree with you. I would agree with that, Brian. Yeah, for me, yeah, I would love YouTube to pay a bill for me. So from the ground up, you're saying you're paying for things that you get from AliExpress, and the next level up, it's paying for either through sponsorships or GearBest throwing you stuff just to try and clear its name and things. It's just throwing you big tools and things like that. But ultimately, I want to start paying off. You're paying off your council tax, paying to the point where I'd like to be where you could say you're paying off your mortgage or you're paying off your rent. So a substantial chunk of your life is dealt with by something that you enjoy, but then it goes back to something you enjoy. Like you were saying, Brian, it's doing what you want to do. So success for me, doing all these live streams and getting involved with the community and everything, that's way more important than me. That takes up more of my time because I want it to, and it's more enjoying, it's more engaging. Speaking with everyone on the comments, I love going through all the live chat comments. It's the community and doing the videos and doing the whole YouTube thing. That's a success for me. But the byproduct of the success is I would like it to reward me financially. It sounds selfish, it sounds terrible, but you can do these things for free, but it'd be good to get rewarded. And even if that at the start is just getting free little things from sponsors or getting a few pounds from your Tindie orders, that's really great. I know you guys have said where Tindie is a nightmare. I really want to try Tindie, but everyone's like, God, it's such hard work. But you all say the same thing where you have something you've made, you put it in your envelope and you post it to someone, and then they'll give you a comment and review of like, hey, that worked. And it's like you get the warm fuzzies. It's like, that's great, that's good. That's not going to pay X, Y, Z, but it's really good, and that's far more important. And I think when you get to the part where you're paying off your mortgage or you're buying your luxury yachts and everything, like 3D printing nerd might be doing, that's a byproduct of all that. So yeah, I've kind of waffled on. I usually need C on here to be like, shh, stop.
He's in the chat. He hasn't shushed you yet, anyways. But yeah, like so like I definitely wouldn't describe Tindie as a nightmare. I would describe it as hard work for sure. If it's mightn't be the best way of making money, but like I have to say, I have not put in like money from my day job into Tindie stuff since before Christmas. It's self-funding itself at the moment, and I'm very happy with that. Like, Tindie is paying for the costs of my channel at the moment, which is great. Like, it's really nice. Like, you were talking about like getting it to start paying some bills or whatever. So it's not actually paying my phone bill or anything like that, but it has, like anything I buy on AliExpress now, it's coming from like sales from Tindie and stuff. So like it does support me for sure, and it's a great feeling.
These small things start to compound as well. So
yeah,
you're getting all these little things that are paying themselves, which will then it's building the steps to build the next thing. I think that's similar with me on 3D printing. When 3D Hubs was a 3D Hubs good thing, now it's a evil corporation. Damn you! But it spurred me on to print more things, and I would get more orders, which meant I would pay for the materials to pay for those orders, which meant I could buy more material. So yeah, it was paying for itself, and it started making bits of money. Like I said, nothing substantial. I couldn't quit anything. I couldn't go anything. It was just it was growing money for me to buy more material and to essentially reinvest. Yeah, I don't know where I go with my points. I always just stop.
Yeah. Anyone else want to weigh in on that one?
Maybe I can share a little bit of my experience regarding what you said before, scaling down your work days. I tried that. When I started my last day job, I had like 4 days week, since I wanted 1 day to have for YouTube. I was at that time, I don't know, like maybe 5K or 3K subscribers or something. And I really was always enjoying doing that. And I wanted more time. And yeah, if you're spoiled a software developer like you are as well, probably, Brian, it's not a easy thing to cut it down completely, the income. Yeah, but I realized after 2 years that that 1 day that it didn't cut it. I had like maybe a video after a month or 2 months or 3 months or something, and yeah, it was like my Friday or something, and I was exhausted from the week, and then family and so on weekends. So it wasn't working that way. So then after 2 years, I quit my job when I had like 17,000 subscribers, and yeah, of course YouTube wasn't paying my rent and so on, but I really cut down my expenses and living mostly from my savings. So I don't have kids, so that's easier task to do if you don't have a family to pay for. And but I can really relate to what you're saying, and yeah, I'm barely making the cut. So I'm coming to the point where some months my bank account stays at the same level, and the next month it's a bad month and it goes down, like or summer was bad because no one is watching YouTube. And another experience about this Tindie stuff. So this was actually another level that instantly like hit me this month. So it was like I have another for the company, I have another account, and just selling these boards, these 70 boards, it put me like in the position that I don't have to look like for hours for the cheapest stuff. It's the time that I can invest the time in creating new products and shipping them, packing them up. So I don't search for something like to save $2 on the shipping costs or something. I just let it ship and go with it. So it changes a little bit. So the what I sold on Tindie this month paid for the development of the complete VGA bot itself, and for the next development and the development after, and few boards for my supporters. So it was it was giving me momentum to develop new products and don't to look at every penny since it's coming from my private account. So that's really an improvement, and that's why I won't quit on Tindie, but I will start like list like 20 at a time or something, 20 bots at a time. Not sure about that, but that really helps to have like this income, extra income on that.
Yeah, it's interesting for sure. Like I felt the exact same way about like the penny pinching around like finding the cheapest whatever. Like my mentality is completely changed when it's Tindie money. Like it's all my money, right? Or whatever, our money, being me and my wife. But like when it came from Tindie, it just changes it up a little bit. Like is in so like I have the video on the panelizing, right? The manual panelizing, and that's cheaper than getting JLC to panelize it. But it takes longer because you need to like break off the little mouse bites, and if you want to make it look nice, you need to file it down and stuff. So like the time I spend on a board that I manually panelize if I sell it is longer than the time I spend when I just panelize it. So now, like if I'm selling boards and I know they work for sure, I just get JLC to panelize it because like I would rather, just spend that extra whatever it is. It's like $8 in the difference or something. Like, it's nothing really. But originally, when it was my money or whatever, when it was coming from my bank account, I would have been saving that $8. But now I'm less bothered about it. So yeah, it does. It changes the dynamic. That's definitely some like weird social economics or something where realistically you should be spending the money extra either way, right? Because like you're causing yourself like half an hour's work for saving like $6, and that doesn't make any sense, right? But,
Yeah, that's true.
if you don't have it or you don't want to spend it, then what can you do? But yeah. So does anyone have any other thoughts around this, or will we move on to
one thing about penalizing? So I'm using this Easy EDA, and they have the tool, the penalizing tool. So if your board can be V-grooved, you can penalize in Easy EDA and post it to JLC PCB, and doesn't cost extra. It's still $2 if it's within the.
Yeah, I tried that before, and I could get it to like duplicate out the board layout twice, but then I had problems with like if I just like copied and pasted the components down, it didn't work. Maybe it's changed since the last time I used it.
No, well, it's I'm waiting on the boards, but if you just if you are finished with your design, then you go to penalize and do it, then it will show like the components you have on this one, and then it is like a caret or something with empty boards. But I think they will just copy the design. So
you hope.
yeah, we will see it. We will see it. At least it's stated like that all the manufacturers support this penalizing stuff.
Yeah. I'm really interested if that turns out, because I would definitely do that. Sure. Best of both worlds, get the V score and the
Someone had mentioned that if it was divisible by an even number, so you could get it to the 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, that it would be free also. I haven't tried that out yet, but that's what someone mentioned.
Definitely is, because Sion tried it on a stream when somebody, I think was it Ari or something, mentioned it in his stream, and we were all like, no, that changed like months ago, and he was like, no, I'm sure. And Sion tried it, and if it's exactly 10 by 10, well, 10 by 9, because you need 10 for the edge rail, it's free. So there's a bug or something that if it just fits exactly. But yeah. I have been keeping an eye on the chat. I haven't seen any other questions come in, but has anybody who wants to answer that one around what is success answered it, or we move on to something different?
I think my final note would be success is plowing your AliExpress affiliate fund back into AliExpress.
I'm surprised they don't have a way of actually doing that.
That infuriates me, because you know how I am infuriated with their admin charge. Why can't they just be like, yeah, exchange it into AliBucks and spend it back into AliExpress?
I to be honest, I think Tindie is the same problem. Like, I don't know why I'm cashing out to PayPal to buy some stuff back on Tindie again.
Yeah, that's not possible because it would be money laundering. You can't do that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the same on Patreon. I have to pay like to support other Patreon people. I have to pay from my PayPal account and put on this extra fee for the transmission or whatever. But I have to withdraw the money each month, paying another like 5% or what it is to get the money. So that's really annoying.
Okay. Anyone have any questions in the chat? We might finish up at past, which is 7 minutes from now. Have I missed questions in the chat? Stephen, there's one for you here. How are you running the Zigbee MQTT USB stick? Any video or page on how you've done that?
Yeah, I was just replying to that, but I can I can say
Kill some dead air.
it's all in the Zigbee to MQTT wiki, which is a very good wiki. And I am saying this very slowly while my page loads to stall for time, because you need the CC2531 stick. I can get the links to you, Brian, when this is finished, so we can put them in the description. But the wiki it's got very good tutorials of basically you have to get the CC compiler. I suspect Bitluni is got that to his hand. No, look at him scratching away. No, you need a CC compiler to flash the CC25 which is like a USB stick using their own firmware, and that's plugged into the Raspberry Pi, which is then running the Home Assistant. It's running Has.io, and then there's an add-on. It's all like just click, 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 and away you go. It was really good. The only thing that I am going to try and get a video done. I know me and Colin have spoken a little on this. He's asking me for advice, and I'm asking him for advice. I think we're both just waiting for each other to release a video. But yeah, follow the wiki. It's really good. The only issue I had was I had the pins wrong. So when I was trying to flash the stick, it wasn't working. But I had the pins the wrong way around.
You should do a dual live stream of you chatting about it.
That would be either amazing or boring.
Only one way to find out.
I'll just delete that I was commenting. But yeah, I'm keep knocking my camera.
Yeah, if you send that on to me, I'll update the description with that.
It's an incredible repo. They've got so much support. The guys, it's incredible.
Yeah, cool. Thank you for that. Okay, there doesn't seem to be any more questions coming in. So maybe in the last few minutes, is there anything that people want to plug? I know the start of it is kind of plugging stuff, but just well, there's another question, Adam Bryant. Just last second, anyone use MicroPython? I have not. I've been following Sion's videos or Unexpected Makers videos, and I am very tempted to try it. And I will at some stage. But I have, as of right now, I have not used it.
Why? Why will you try it?
Why?
Yeah. What's
Why
the
not?
benefit? What's the benefit?
So one of the huge advantages I see is Sion sent me the code for like doing the YouTube API library he did for MicroPython, and it is so much shorter than the code for the YouTube API library that I've done for Arduino. So like if the main thing I do with an ESP8266 is like integrate with APIs, and that's easier to do with MicroPython, you would think that I should at least try it, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So like, sure, mightn't be as efficient or whatever. I will not get into the details about that because I can't speak about it, right? But you know, if your goal is to get like a number from an API and it's easier in MicroPython, I don't mind if it uses an extra few clock cycles if that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually you're right about this because I had done project with Mongoose OS some few years ago now, and it was with JavaScript. So there is a JavaScript interpreter on it on the ESP32, and I was able to, since everything is in this API or it's included like MQTT and stuff. I spent less time tinkering with the code and just pushing out projects week by week. So that's if it not has to be performant or something, then it's quite neat probably.
Yeah, Liz, I know you have pretty extensive CircuitPython.
Yeah, CircuitPython I've done a lot with. I haven't done MicroPython yet, but I really enjoy working with CircuitPython because, like you said, it just takes kind of less stuff than C to get stuff going, which is good. And the library support is really starting to catch on with MicroPython too. So I think it's worth a shot if anyone's curious. Just go for it.
Yeah.
And
Go on.
the syntax can be a little bit more intuitive too than C sometimes.
I saw a good meme or something on the internet, and it was like the Hello World example, and various programming languages. It was like 10, 20, 30 lines, and then Python was just print Hello World, and it's just like there. What more do you need?
Yeah, like so, like I'm a software developer, as most people know. Like, I'm a big fan of stuff that makes things easier to do. Like, as in, like people like talk down a lot on sort of this move to like Electron apps and say like how if anybody has done like a Hello World web page in React.js, like how massive the the dependencies and all that stuff are. But I think like if it does speed up development time and there isn't a huge reason why it needs to be smaller, like as in I don't mind if an app is 2 megs when it could be 5 kilobytes, right? Because it doesn't matter to me, right? As in now if it's using like 8 gigs of RAM as opposed to using like 100 megs, that's a problem. But like as in, you know, if I have enough RAM and it's not a problem, then I don't really care. Like so I'm happy enough to like use whatever is like the easiest tool for the job rather than, you know, what is the most efficient. Like if it was a race to the bottom in efficiency, like none of us would be using Arduino either, right? We'd all be using like lower level C or, you know, assembly language, decrement and jump if not equal to 0, building our for loops from that. But yeah, no, I just think it's interesting, just something fun. I definitely have a very open mind about using it for sure. Even though I've never really used Python before, I've done one small project in it, and that's my entire Python experience.
I implemented Blender plugins with Python, and it was a nightmare.
Just the tabs gets me every time. Yeah. Okay, so what else do we have? We had a question
There's
from...
quite a few questions come in.
Yeah, thanks for leaving them all till like the last second, guys. Appreciate it. The first one I see is from Tinker Dad about making a startup with the IoT stuff. I've thought about it a bit. I don't know if I thought maybe I had a good enough idea, maybe, but so like the big problem for me is like I have dependencies, right? And not in the software development terms, in the like people I need to feed terms, and like I I don't know if I have it in me to take a gamble like that is in starting a startup. You know, I just know the maths of like what is it, 3 and 4 startups fail, and you're like, ooh, but I could be that 1 in 4. But the other thing for me, this is a bit of a personal story, but I'll keep it brief anyways. But like, so like my dad owns a business to do with construction, and so in 2008 when like the recession came or whatever, like that hugely impacted him. Like he had a successful business, and then suddenly like stuff went down, you know, like the whole, anybody involved in construction was hugely impacted by it. And like I kind of like that put me off ever like running my own business. Like just kind of, there is something very nice about getting a paycheck every week and not having to worry about like, you know, letting people go or things like that. You know, there's definitely huge stresses with running a business that I'm not sure I would ever want. So they would be the main reasons. Maybe if I came up with something that I was really passionate about, maybe I'd try do it part-time on the side, but I'm not sure. So I don't think I'd probably go down that route.
I think, yeah, I'd agree where I'd do it for the warm and fuzzies again. I do not want to commit myself. I think we're well aware of all the stats, and even we get interested in the Kickstarters, and you see them fail, and it is just a big worry. Even being involved with Sion and getting his tiny Pico, you know, to an actual product, and even on crowd supply and delivering to all the tinkerers and geeks and makers, it's essentially to market, and it's just been such a stressful process for him. Yeah, he's wrapped it up in these cool little streams and videos, but yeah, it's a huge commitment, it's a huge stress, and I personally, I'd only do it if I was just doing it for the fun of it again. The warm and fuzzies.
Yeah. We had another question, and John actually asked us on Twitter, and I forgot about it. But the greatest magic smoke of all time. I'll let somebody else answer the question first, because I feel like I've been hogging the limelight.
Yeah.
Go on.
Actually, this week, my laptop. I think I have like 2 USB 3 ports on my laptop, and I might have even broken the second one today. So 2 broken ports. I need a new laptop, I think, or I will open up and like Louis Rossmann, I'll have to solder them. And I even didn't see the magic smoke, so it was quite expensive. That was like 1.7k euros gone.
Damn. Anyone else?
I had thermal runaway on my 3D printer once with the bed that actually caused the connector to melt on the board. That was exciting.
That was with the Prusa, wasn't it?
That was with the Prusa, yeah.
Wow.
I've still never figured out if it was maybe the connection was loose or something, but it just melted.
Was it the heated bed? I suspect.
It was a heated bed, yeah.
Yeah,
and
it's
then,
always the heated bed.
Yeah, and the connector just melted right out. So
They're
exciting.
as dangerous as electric blankets.
Yeah.
My first magic smoke was very, when I started all this, I got some OLED displays I think when everyone starts out and you get those little OLED displays, it's just like, wow, they're just so tiny and magical. But I bought the 1.3 version. So it's like, wow, it's like getting a 50-inch plasma as far as OLEDs go. I was like, wow, this is huge. This is amazing. And I just hooked up power and ground the wrong way around, and then started my sketch. And it was just like, oh, what's that? That smells horrible. What on earth is that? Why doesn't this work? And I was like, yeah.
Those 1.3-inch OLEDs, there is like one version that has ground and power one way and another version that has ground and power the other way. Like, it's a disaster. Who did this?
I'm glad you said that. Maybe it wasn't me. I just thought it was being...
Well, it was you because it's labeled on the board. You just wired it up wrong. But like, there is, like, I have two here, and one of them is one way and the other is the other way. So like, I actually started making a board there a while ago around, like, it's just like you stick an ESP on one side of it and OLEDs on the other. And what I ended up doing was, like, the bottom connector is one way and the top connector is another way. So if it's either board, you can plug it in, or either display, you can plug it into either. But like, that's a disaster. Like, I know some people give out about like how there's no standard with I2C, but like, you'd at least think on similar products that they'd be the same, but nope. Colin, do you have any magic smokes to speak of?
Not so much the magic smoke, but some smoke with working with the lithium-ion batteries. I learned a healthy respect pretty quick when one of those shorted out and running out of the back garden, putting that outside. And it was just one of the single 18650s, and that gave me a healthy respect for them, and was extremely careful in future and fused everything in such, like, and not to cut any corners. Yeah, it was short lesson.
I'd have to agree with that one. If no one's ever shorted an 18650, I'm not telling you to do it, but when you do it, prepare to change your pants, because it's like, this is just you think this is like a little AA battery. It's like, it's nothing, like a little 9-volt. You could probably stick your tongue on it, but no, if you short these, you're like, oh my god. There's a lot of power in those little things.
There's a lot of amperage in them, yeah.
Yeah, what can the single one can deliver? Like, is it 10 amps or something? Or it's a lot, right?
Yeah,
they vary from battery to battery.
Ugh, scary stuff. I think my worst one was I was messing around with a friend, and we were saying we'd add like Wi-Fi support to his coffee machine, and we opened up his coffee machine, and we're gonna add like an ESP8266 behind the button that presses to turn on the coffee. So it'd be pretty handy to do. And I powered on the coffee machine to like test what happened with the button in terms of like, when you close the button, did it go low? Was it at 5 volts, or what the story was? And whatever way I kind of connected up to it, I left it down on a metal surface, and I just shorted it and blew the power supply of his like €200 coffee machine. Sorry, Kieran, if you're watching. Yeah, so that was fun. That was my worst one for sure. I don't know. I haven't gotten magic smoke that much. I don't push the boundaries a huge amount either. I am very afraid of working with 18650s. Very afraid. Yeah. So,
but then you see videos of the American guys making the power walls and the Australians, and their ways of opening the 18650 laptop batteries is basically just to smash them on the ground as hard as they can. And they're like, yeah, don't worry about it. But yeah.
Scary.
Did you see Rich Rebuilds? His experience with he had like a shot. That's a guy that is restoring flooded Teslas, and he takes the batteries out, and he had like a fun project with such a small like Daisy car, or what it was, and he built in like Tesla batteries, and they had it in a garage, and it started. It caught on fire, and all the batteries were shooting around, and everything was burning, and one guy just pushed the car out of the garage, and it burned down. It was really crazy. It's a really cool video to watch. What can happen if you misuse Tesla batteries?
Yeah, scary stuff. Okay, we've ran over a little bit, but David Watts has asked a question, so we'll answer the great David Watts. For the group, what is your favorite tool? Is this software or hardware? Is that asking is software or hardware our which is our favorite between the two, or what is our favorite tool? Like, is in?
It means, yeah, is it a soldering iron or is it the IDE?
Yeah, software or hardware.
I thought David's question was going to be, can I come on the next stream?
He knows there's an open invitation. He didn't ask. Yeah. So okay. So yeah, what is your favorite tool? It can be either a software one or a hardware one. I'll quickly answer this. I got a TS100 for my birthday in 2017, I think. Maybe it was last year. I don't know. Whenever I got my TS100 anyways, I was a bit kind of weary about spending, like, it wasn't even that much money. It was like, what, $80 or something on a soldering iron. But I absolutely have gotten my money's worth and more out of that thing. It has, like, I became a much better solderer overnight, basically, with it. It's just so much better than what I had before. I was like replacing tips on my old one all the time. I still have the same original tips that I got with my TS100. Just love it. Can't recommend it enough. I love the fact that it is sitting in a component drawer above my desk right now. So like I don't have a big soldering station on my desk taking up room. Just throw it away and it's out of the way. Just love it. Can't recommend it enough. That is my favorite tool for sure.
I'm waiting to get a sponsor to review one of those.
No, I won't.
I'll say software tool that I really like right now is Mu, spelled MU, which is an IDE for CircuitPython. Because one of the things about CircuitPython is like the script lives on the chip, so you can kind of edit it as a text file if you want. But and I know that's like a feature of it, but to be honest, it's probably my like least favorite thing about it. So having an IDE that makes it so that you can update it from there and also have a serial monitor built in and everything just makes it a lot easier. And I really didn't start doing a lot with CircuitPython until I was using Mu, so it's probably my favorite software tool.
Cool.
I'm going to be controversial and say my favorite tool is probably the Arduino IDE.
Ew.
I would probably from a historic point of view, because that really brought me into the whole coding of microcontrollers, microprocessors, microcontrollers, and yeah, when I actually code libraries and things, I use Visual Studio or Platform IO. But yeah, I think Arduino IDE is like the stepping stone for people to get into it, and it's the gateway into all these hardware devices. It was like, for me, it was uploading that sketch from going from your USB from the code you created into your little device that is sat on your desk, and your LEDs start blinking, your servos start moving, your 32x64 matrix start making little dancing bananas, and it's like, wow, this is cool stuff. Yeah, I don't like it. I think it's horrible. Yeah, like I said, I do prefer Visual Studio and Platform IO. I think even like Xeon has the he's showing like the black theme for ID. That just makes it look so much better.
My biggest problem is the lack of IntelliSense with it. I just
Yeah,
think it's mad that it doesn't.
I'm a lazy programmer. I use PHP Storm for my day job, and you can like type 2 or 3 characters, and you filled out 10 lines, and it just saves you days of time. So for this, just type.
Yeah, I agree though with like the sentiment of like it simplifies a lot of stuff for you. Like as in if you didn't have that, you would like I know the Visual Studio Code is plugins now for Arduino, but like think about what you would have to do if you didn't have either of those things. You'd be like compiling hex files and then uploading it using command line. AVR dude, and like even just the library support and stuff. Like I agree with your sentiment. As an editor, it's really poor compared to other ones, but like as an overall package for making things simple for people to use, yeah, I'd agree with that.
It's almost like an uploading tool.
The worst thing about this, it replaces your spaces, your types by step spaces, so you are forced to use spaces. That's the worst thing about it.
Yeah, I usually get that from the Arduino library people. They're like, your spaces are not right. So, well, I've tabbed them. I don't know, just
horrible.
Yeah.
I might even continue. My favorite tool, since we had the soldering station already, and I wouldn't be able to decide between the soldering station and the multimeter. So the multimeter was the if you're starting with electronics and you're starting with breadboards, so not even soldering yet, then multimeter is the thing to go, especially if you're colorblind and can't distinguish the resistor color codings. Then using a multimeter that can measure resistances and LCR meter, or a nice multimeter that also measures capacity or inductance is really good. So that's my favorite tool, I think.
The blue resistors are impossible for non-colorblind people to read too, so don't feel too bad about it.
Okay.
Colin?
I think my example would be the getting a sort of entry bench power supply. Doing a lot of work with LEDs and other things. Had some. It's not a huge model I've got, but yeah, just being able to control that and just digitally set exactly what you want. You're not getting any more. That was a big step for me. It seems a small thing, but it saved a lot of components getting burnt up and running away. So it's a definite little must.
Yeah, the current limitation, that's a really plus.
I have still yet to get one.
What?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with Brian. I still haven't got an actual bench power supply. I ghetto things. See, you're like what? We ghetto things, and we use 5-volt rails and 3-volt rails and little buck converters.
Yeah, but you get less magic smoke if you start like with low current and you see it isn't working or something's wrong. Then yeah.
I made this just this week, right? It's a buck converter little adapter module, so I can plug in like whatever into this side and adjust it to whatever I need out of that side. So look, I don't need an adjustable power supply. I got one right here.
It's fully adjustable.
I do have this thing for a breadboard. You can adjust it a little, That's as far as I've gotten.
I just find that nearly all the projects I want to do use 5 volts or maybe 12 volts, and I haven't had much need for anything in between. So like for 5 volts, I normally just use the power off the micro USB, or maybe if I need more, I'll just use a barrel jack connector, and same with the 12 volts. And I just haven't had a huge need for it. Like every now and again, it would be useful, but I really haven't felt like I've been missing out that much. and even more so a scope. People say to me the whole time, it's like, oh, you run your scope on it. And I'm like, I don't have one. And I haven't really felt like I've missed out without one either. I'm just not into this kind of stuff that needs it. So
one use
scope.
case, sorry.
Oh, this tiny little thing is my scope.
Nice. That's more than I have.
One big use case for power supplies is charging batteries. So you can use them to charge LiPo batteries, lithium iron phosphate batteries. So you can set up the right voltage and even the current limitation that you need, especially for charging batteries. I had many batteries that were quite low, so even proper charging station would refuse to charge them up from old laptop. Yeah. But this one, especially this one, I have this as well, and it refuses to charge batteries that are quite low, and I just revive them with my power supply. And if I get a certain voltage, then I can switch even to a charger like that. But this charger won't charge like lithium ferrite or other chemistries that you probably don't have on this firmware. So yeah, it's a nice thing to have.
Yeah, I think it's a thing to get. It's on my list of things to get, but it's on one of my. I think a power supply and then an oscilloscope.
I don't think I've ever used that thing I showed you. Maybe once to test. I bought it thinking I'd use it all the time, and I just don't do it. I don't know what the story is. I just don't. But yeah, okay, we've ran way over. Let's finish up. I didn't see any more questions, and I actually don't want to see any more questions because we need to finish up, right? So okay, let's give everybody like 30 seconds to say what you want to plug or anything interesting you want to share. Go, Colin.
Nothing to plug as such, just thanks for having me on, guys, and I'll hopefully get some more content out soon. So thank you for the opportunity to be here.
You're more than welcome. Liz, what you got for us?
This week I'll have a video talking about the bodge process for this board. And I'm probably going to be at Bay Area Maker Faire, and I might be giving a talk, so that's exciting. But also, thank you for having me on the stream, and thanks for hosting, Brian.
Again, you're more than welcome, and awesome news about Bay Area Maker Faire. Congratulations. Hopefully you get to give that talk. Stephen, what do you got?
Yeah. If you know the user Xeen, Xeen, he was my winner of my post-bug video. He gets a ruler. He's yet to get in contact with me. And for some reason now on YouTube, can you contact people? I don't know.
You cannot.
Yeah, I thought I figured that out. I was like, there's no way to actually contact him. So I've messaged him his name everywhere on the comments, but nothing's working. So if he's in the comments and I've missed him, let him know that he will get a ridiculously cheap rubbish ruler if he sends me his address. But David Watts, he's off to Japan soon from his videos. He's blagged me to do something on his channel, so I will be speaking about his how would I say this? His BDC, his binary decimal coded crap clock. I have got a project idea that I'm going to talk about, but not on my channel.
Nice. I need to get in on this. Anybody want to do some content for my channel? Hit me up on Twitter or something. Bitluni.
I have nothing much to say except for you should check out the links in the description for all the channels. Check out the Tindie stores and subscribe to Brian. Thanks for hosting today. It was a blast. And we hope to see you again, I think, next month and first Sunday of the month. And prepare some questions. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're more than welcome as well. Yeah, for me, what do I want to plug? Yeah, all the links in the description for all of us. Make sure you check out the other people's channels. I know they put a lot of work into their stuff, so definitely feel free to check that out. And if you like what you see, make sure you engage so the YouTube algorithm gives them a little bit of a boost too. So give it a like and a subscribe. I probably will have a couple of videos at some stage over the next year. I have no idea. I probably will be knee deep in diapers pretty soon, or nappies as I'd call them. But yeah.
Does your incontinence problem come back?
It's nice to make fun of me. Yeah, so yeah, huge thanks to everybody for joining, the co-hosts and the viewers. This is a huge amount of fun. Next one is going to be on Stephen Ludgate's channel, so make sure to keep an eye on that and check that out. I will not be on the next one because I will not have time to think. Hopefully I can join on the chat though. And yeah, that's it from me. Huge thanks to everybody, and let's finish up and catch you next time.
Bye.
Cheerio.
Cheers, guys.
Bye bye.